living the narrowboat dream, and I just want to talk a bit today about a question that is often asked and was asked of us many times when we announced that we were going to do the completely mad thing of selling our house and moving on to a narrowboat. What do you do with all your stuff? Downsizing from a 3-bedroomed house to a 57-foot corridor basically is challenging, to say the least, and I would say we've probably got rid of about 80% of our stuff at least. A lot of it was recycled or given away. A lot of it was given to charity. A lot of it was just dumped. But you know, in the end, as I say, about 80% of the stuff had to go. So of the remaining stuff, what do you do with that? Well, if you are currently looking for a narrowboat, I'll give you one piece of advice. When we looked on Birdsong, our first reaction was, wow, look how spacious she looks. Because you go on some narrowboats, there's a small corridor to walk through the middle, sort of through the furniture, and that's your lot. When we walked into Birdsong, there were lots of wide open spaces, and it just felt really nice. The thing is, with a narrowboat that feels really spacious, lots of floor that can be seen, you can be pretty sure it's not being used as a liveaboard. Now that's not a problem as long as you know how to address that, and luckily we realised this. We realised why it was like that, and before we ever moved on to Birdsong, we'd sorted out exactly what we wanted to do about that and what we were going to buy to address the storage issue. Because the reason there was so much open space is because there was no facility to put anything. Great for weekends and holidays, not so great for living on. So obviously then you have to address that, which is what we've begun doing, and which is what I want to show you really, so that you can see where we do put all our stuff, if you like. So yeah, as I say, if you walk on and think, wow, this is really spacious, then take a step back and think, but what do we need to be able to store the stuff that we're bringing? And if you're anything like us, you will keep far too much stuff, and as you move on board, we've only been on board 4 weeks, we've already got rid of probably another 20% of what we brought with us, but there is still some stuff in storage, some of which we will have room for and we are keeping. Other stuff will be stored with friends and family, because our 20-year-old son lives with us, and it's stuff he wants to keep that when he gets his own place he'll take with him. And the other stuff, again, we will be getting rid of it. It's what's amazed me more than anything else is, in normal life, if you like, how much stuff we live with that we don't need, we don't use. We emptied our loft when we were moving, stuff we'd not seen for 20 years. Why did we save it? If we'd not used it in 20 years, we really didn't need it, did we? And other stuff that, you know, we probably had used and we were using, but you can live quite easily without it. So it's been quite a cathartic process really, getting rid of a lot of this stuff. So when I said when we walked onto the boat it felt spacious, this is what I meant. This is what it looked like when we first saw the boat. There was no storage down the left hand side at all. There was no furniture, so it did seem really spacious but not awfully practical. So if we get down to actual specifics of storage and where we've put things. When I lived in a house 4 short weeks ago, well, it's longer than that because I've been clearing out for about 18 months since we decided to do this, but at one point I had 3 double wardrobes full of clothes. 3 double wardrobes just for me, full of clothes. Obviously I didn't wear them all. I couldn't wear them all. That's a ridiculous amount of clothes. And I sort of had shoes and handbags to match, really. But obviously that had to change. We now have one double wardrobe that is shared between me and Neil. So a lot of clothes had to go. But what we've also got is under bed storage. So not all of our clothes have to fit into the drawers and wardrobe that we have in the bedroom. We've bought those big vacuum bags that you can fill with clothes, and then you sort of sit on them or use a pump to pump out the air, and they go almost flat. And there are actually 6 of those under the bed and still room for other things like spare bedding and things like that. So they really are a great idea, and what we do is that the clothes we're wearing at the minute, so it's dependent on the season, are in the wardrobe and drawers. The ones that we won't need for a couple of months are in the vacuum bags under the bed. So that works pretty well, and that's a really good use of space. That under bed space is brilliant. We are also going to put up 3 wall cabinets in the bedroom because there isn't anything currently like that. So we're going to put those up, and that will be used for things like t-shirts and jumpers and stuff. Just giving us a little bit more space and extending the amount of clothes that we can have available to wear rather than in the vacuum bags under the bed. So we haven't yet finished with our storage solutions. It's an ongoing process at the minute. As I say, we've only been on board 4 weeks, so we have got those cabinets and they will be going up shortly. So that's the clothes sort of side. Shoes, I have a square box in the bottom of the wardrobe on one side with my shoes in. Neil has one on the other side, and if they don't fit in that box we can't have them. So I think now I've probably got boots and shoes, I've probably got 6 to 8 pairs, whereas before I probably had 20, 25, something like that, which I didn't need. I've now got 3 handbags, whereas I had, again, 20, 25. So, and it will be a process of 1 in, 1 out. So that's basically the storage in the bedroom, the clothes and things like that. So you can see there from the photo that the wardrobe in the bedroom is half height, and it's actually got 3 drawers under it, which you can't see from there. And there's also 3 drawers at the side, which they're a lot bigger than they look actually. And then the whole area under the bed, apart from a little bit in the back corner that's taken up by the calorifier, is storage space. So that's a huge amount of space, and well, I do have to report that actually it is full. One thing I was dubious about how it would work is kitchen storage, because obviously the galley or the kitchen on a narrowboat is much smaller than in most houses, so you have much less storage room. So for instance, when we lived in the house, I had one large cupboard for pans and another large cupboard for cooking dishes, and I can't afford that luxury now. So what we've done is we've put up racks for things. Again, we've reduced what we own. You don't really need about 8-9 pans for things. You don't. But you know, you develop, you think, oh, this is a really nice pan, I'll keep this, but then you buy another set and you just get more than you need. So we sorted that out, but now we have a rack for the pans. We also have a rack for the kitchen utensils, because I used to have 4 drawers that I kept different utensils and crockery in, whereas I've now got 2. So the ones that we use most often, we've hung on the wall. The same with spices. I like to use a lot of spices and things in cooking, but they take up quite a lot of room in a cupboard, and I've now got 1 double cupboard rather than 3 double cupboards for food. So we've put the spices up on the wall, and cups, I've got hooks up for hanging cups, just again to free up a little bit of space for pots and things, glasses in the cupboard, because we've got much less cupboard space. So this was the kitchen when we moved in. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cupboards, not an awful lot of storage space. So we've put the rack up for the pans. We've also put a rack up for the utensils, and 1 for spice, and we've got some cup hooks up. We are going to put some more up as well, just to increase the storage. So this was the first day where we moved on board. This was the number of boxes that we brought with us. There are bags that you can't see as well. So when we got back, this is the units that Neil started building. We've actually got 2 of them, 1 at each side of the stove, and there are 16 spaces all in all, and it's just great. Lots and lots of storage. I also I like to make things. I craft, I paint and draw, I knit, crochet, I spin wool. I do all sorts of crafty things that, you know, I used to have massive amounts of space in the house where I used to keep all this stuff. So I have pared back on some of that. Some of it's still in storage, and whether I can keep it all will remain to be seen, to be honest. But it's things like, where do you put all your other stuff? So all that free space I talked about earlier, we've filled it. So now we are back to the narrowboats that you walk on, and it doesn't seem very spacious because you've got a narrow corridor to walk down the middle, but actually it works great because there's so much room to store things and put things away. Because one thing you really have to be on a narrowboat is tidy. There is no room to be leaving stuff laying about and not in the place where it's meant to be, because you couldn't move, you'd have nowhere to sit. We've got 5 animals on board, 1 dog and 4 cats, so that, you know, we've really got to be tidy and to keep things away and where they go. So the storage solution we found for that is brilliant. We can just shove everything out of the way and keep the boat nice and tidy. So it's working really well. And we also have on order, when we moved on the boat, and still now, we've got 1 sofa bed, which actually couldn't be used as a sofa bed because it was too wide to open out in the boat. Obviously that's not something they ever did. As I say, it clearly wasn't a liverboard. And 2 captain's chairs. We've got on order 2 sofa beds that are sort of a click-clack style, and when we've measured them out, they will both open out into double beds, which is great. They've also got a huge full-length storage drawer underneath, which again, anything that increases your storage is just brilliant. So we're really looking forward to those. We're expecting those in about 2 or 3 weeks, we've been told. So that will be a really good addition to our storage as well. So I would love to hear your solutions that you've found for innovative storage ideas, where you keep all your stuff, and you know how you got on with downsizing if you've moved to a narrowboat or to somewhere that's much smaller than where you were. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like. To follow our journeys and our upgrading, updating of the boat, if you like, subscribe, and if you click the bell icon, it'll let you know when there's a video available. Thanks for watching. See you next time.